Your mind and your backside can rest easy, knowing LA's own mayor and some community-minded vets and residents helped build it. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
Is Los Angeles ready to make plastic utensils on demand? Councilmember Bob Blumenfield believes it's time for the city to act.
How many of us are guilty of storing those plastic utensils in our kitchen drawers? Well, those may be the last ones you might be getting. Councilman Bob Blumenfield is taking the lead in adopting new environmental standards when it comes to reducing the use of plastic utensils. Plastic on demand is what he's calling it.
When it comes to plastic forks and knives and silverware, plasticware, that it only be given on demand, that it not just be given out with every takeout purchase and be the standard that it is, that everyone gets this extra plastic.
Plastic on demand is about creating awareness, reducing the amount of plastic flow of garbage coming from the city, and impacting the environment.
It's imperative to do it in LA because Los Angeles is where cutting-edge policy is made.
8 million metric tons of plastic ends up in our oceans each year, hurting our marine life. If plastic production isn't curbed, plastic pollution will outweigh fish pound for pound by 2050.
So you have this multiple problems with the excess plastics that we have. One, we're not recycling enough. Two, they're impacting our landfills. And three, they're impacting our oceans. Oceans full of plastics that are damaging and killing our marine life. This is all going to have an impact on the human race.
So what can you do? Well, Councilman Blumenfield does recommend writing into your local council members to show them your support for the motion. And on a personal level, try using more silverware. And Councilman Blumenfield, well, this one's for you. I guess I'm a step ahead with my glass straw. In Los Angeles, I'm Rasha Goel for LA This Week.
Do you know how to contact your council member? It's pretty easy. Check out the website. You can find out who your council member is, their phone number, email, and links to social media sites. Summer is in full swing, and it's a hot one. How about hopping in a kayak at the LA River to cool off? Rasha Goel does just that.
When we think of Los Angeles, we often think of Hollywood, Beverly Hills, the beaches, and the mountains. But there's a beautiful hidden gem right here in our backyard, and it's the LA River. And today, I'm about to take you kayaking if you haven't ever been. I had a chance to experience the LA River with LA River Kayaks, a company spearheaded by Dr. Jeffrey Tipton. The company rents kayaks and does some guided tours, but mostly it's self-guided. All right, guys, I'm going down the LA River. Woohoo!
I was one of the first people to go down the entire LA River to prove that it was a river so that it would open it up for access. Because under the Clean Water Act, as long as a river is traditionally navigable, then it has to be protected and treated like a river. So that's kind of what happened. That was about 9-10 years ago. And since, and for the last 8 years, we've been both here and in Sepulveda Basin near Encino renting kayaks.
The entire route near Elysian Park is about 2 miles and takes roughly 2 hours. It's a one-way route that starts near Fletcher Avenue and ends at Confluence Park. Now, I saw some wildlife that I didn't even know existed down there.
From the path here, you can't really see how much water and wildlife and trees are on the other side. But in a kayak, you get a pretty unique view. And yeah, it was fun. I didn't know this was all in my backyard.
What I will tell you is to definitely make sure you're hydrated, use sunscreen, and take a hat or sunglasses, and be prepared to use your arms. It's a lot of fun and learning.
It gets people to understand the relationship between water in LA and where it comes from, where it goes.
This has been so fun. Yeah, there's way more rapids and water than I was expecting, so it was fun.
We did it! All right, this is something that you definitely have to come check out. I mean, it's so beautiful. It's easy. Of course, you got to get the swing of it first, but if you've never been out to the LA River, I highly recommend it. Reporting for LA This Week, I'm Rasha Goel.
For more info, check out LARiverKayaks.com. Hurry up though, most tours end in September. Kayaking is just one of the many cool things happening at the LA River. We caught up with the city's Bureau of Engineering about some of the projects in development on the historic waterway. Gil Reyes has more.
Pedestrians and cyclists enjoying glistening views of the LA River tell us what they want to see next. More bridges to connect the great communities west of the water, like Griffith Park, to areas east of the water, like Atwater Village. Janine Lorenzo wants to ride to the other side.
We love to just come and be outdoors and take the trails, but this has always been blocked off to us.
But cycling across the river will soon be possible at several key points. Now you can see construction to one of those bridges taking place right now. The bridge here at North Atwater Park will link Griffith Park to the west to Atwater Village to the east. And when completed, it will be an equestrian bridge with room for horses. That's right, horses, as well as cyclists and pedestrians too.
It connects all the stables in the Atwater Village area, all the riders into Griffith Park. And they used to have to walk down into the river and then back up the river, and it was somewhat slippery. Horses sometimes slipped on that.
Deborah Weintraub from the Bureau of Engineering says the safety overpass will open next year, and more bridges are coming. One at Taylor Yard, linking Cypress Park to Frogtown, and another linking Atwater Village to Silver Lake. In downtown, the upcoming 6th Street Bridge and Park will add even more amenities.
One of the unusual components of that park will be an art plaza under the bridge, which will take advantage of an existing pathway into the river. That will eventually connect to a bike path all through downtown that Metro is the project manager for.
Gear up for some big changes over the next several years, and you'll have a say in how it will all look. Stay updated on the river's progress as well as community meetings at eng.lacity.org. I'm Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
For 50 years, Chuck Levin has been tirelessly working to get people registered to vote. This week, he was honored by council at Voter Registration Day.
I declare Chuck Levin and Voter Registration Day in the city of Los Angeles.
In 1968, I started registering voters in Westwood Village at Stan's Donuts, and I still do. For 50 years, a week hasn't gone by that I haven't been registering voters somewhere in the streets of LA, and I just believe in making voter registration as accessible as possible, being out on the street, at a table or at a movie line, answering questions, talking to people, having conversations, discussing their right to vote, their privilege to vote, and their responsibility to vote.
It's my honor to have known Chuck Levin, who I'm pleased to call my dear friend, for 45 years. Well, I'm very excited to have us declare both Voter Registration Day and Chuck Levin Day. Chuck has been a volunteer voter registrar for over 50 years. He's registered over 14,000 people. His mother registered over 47,000 people in her lifetime.
I'd be remiss if I didn't say a few words about Chuck and his incredible work. You inherited the family business, and your mom passed down a recipe for democracy.
And Chuck, it's unbelievable to me that you have been a volunteer registrar for 50 years. That's, I think, indicative of who he is.
You should be inspired by what you've done, Chuck, and what all of you here who are engaged in registration are doing. Inspired to register people to vote, to change the world. That's how we do it. We register people to vote, and we have warriors like Chuck Levin on the front lines. Thank you, Chuck, for all you do, and happy Voter Registration Day.
Feeling inspired? You can register to vote online at registertovote.ca.gov. Libraries are more than just a place for books. There are community centers. Anna Marcos takes us to Durant Branch Library, where celebrity stylists share their talents with those in need.
Get ready for the star treatment at this hairstyling joint. The hairdressers are celebrity stylists. The setting, the back parking lot of the Durant Branch Library in Hollywood. And the clientele are homeless residents.
I'm going bald. I just like the way it looks.
This is the Source program at the LA Public Library's Durant branch. On the last Thursday of every month, celebrity stylists who often trim the locks of famous people come to give the A-list treatment to homeless folks in need of a haircut and some TLC.
Well, when I was a kid, I was in the foster system, and I was homeless at 13. You know, I'm just giving back to the community. I know what it's like to be down and out, and I feel good. I feel good when I do this. It actually warms my heart.
It's important to help people out as much as possible.
Hairdressing is my craft, so I just love the art of hairdressing, but more importantly, the whole reason why I do it is just to help people.
I think it's truly a blessing from God, and it's a good thing that someone cares.
But hairstyling isn't the only thing going on here. Look at this. There is free food here. There are referrals to medical services and housing, and even free cell phones.
You learn that you're part of a community when you're part of a library, and a big part of my community are people who need help like this.
And some of that help appears to be finger-licking good. Meanwhile, Samantha Jackson and her 3 kids just arrived here from Ohio.
I think it's awesome because it's a lot of people that need help. A lot.
And it seems that this library, at least, takes care of the dogs, too. The Source program is now at 5 LA Public Library branches, and soon there will be 2 more, which will mean a lot more homeless residents getting treated like VIPs. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
Looking for a little art in your life this weekend? Check out All Lit Up at Chinatown's Blossom Plaza.
The All Lit Up exhibit at the Eastern Projects Gallery in Chinatown is all about neon. And what better medium to shine a light on our times? One exhibit called It's All About Selfie reflects our own self-obsessed selfie culture.
The mannequins were chosen for very specific reasons. They don't have facial features. They're completely blank. And so that's just a statement about how people become when they're taking a selfie. They're just kind of mindless drones, essentially.
The opening night, just to prove our point, our social experiment even more, there was a gentleman who was, I would say, 35 years of age, jumping into our installation to get a photo of himself in the installation and ended up breaking the neon. This is an example of no selfie control.
There may be no selfie control, but it sure takes a lot of skill to work with neon. We get a lesson on bending the tube, as they call it. All kinds of gases, colored glass, and coating help create the bright colors and pulse effects you see.
I love the glow. I love the cast light. After I've heated the tube, I go up in the air and I bend freeform.
I hope that more people come to Chinatown. There's many galleries here, and they're each representational of different art movements.
This installation focuses on symbolic objects that elicit emotions. Candles, moons, flowers. Their inspiration? Think ka-ching.
Oh man, I grew up in Las Vegas, Nevada. That's my hometown. So I've been seeing these pretty things in my eyeballs all of my life, and I think I just was always attracted to it.
And while we're on the topic of neon, ever wonder who created the Neon Celebrate stamp? Well, one of the artists right here did. He not only created the neon installation, he photographed it, and now we use it to mail our letters. And that's not all to come out of this guy's whimsical creations.
I made one of these for Katy Perry. She has one just like this. Yeah.
But back to that selfie exhibit, we caught some teens going all selfie on it.
People like stop to take pictures rather than just like admire things.
Yeah, it's like more about like the person. Like you have to be in it now.
Yeah.
Like whatever you're doing.
How you guys doing that?
Exactly. Well, we were trying to get like the lighting on the.
We're just best friends. We just always do stuff like that.
You have a chance to take your own selfie with all the artwork by visiting the exhibit, which runs through August 25th.
More info at easternprojectsgallery.com. Art isn't only in a museum. Those that ride the LA Metro get a daily look at some of LA's finest on their commute. Now Metro is taking it to new levels with regular community art events. Anna Marcos takes us to Metro Art Presents.
Transportation and art. The two don't sound like they would go together, but at LA Metro, they do. The Metro Art Presents event was one example of art taking on many forms, drawing on people's arms, faces, bodies. In this tribal pattern session, provided some of the artsy entertainment.
They create an awesome vibe for us to hang out and have fun.
The event has been a joint partnership with Radio KCRW for the past 5 years, and it attracts hundreds of people, a mix of everyday train and bus passengers and the more artsy, trendy crowd.
Some people are coming specifically because they heard about it and they love the arts and culture in Los Angeles. And some people, because this is a train station, are commuters or they're traveling someplace. And so it's whoever happens to be passing through the train station. We're just surprising them with some arts and culture.
Besides the DJ spinning and body painting, there were photo booths, fun and games of all sorts, artwork, hula hooping, lots of hula hooping, and dancing. Even more of that. Lots and lots and lots of dancing. Call it a Hollywood hipster's artistic Coney Island.
We are just in the community, just, activating it with our DJs, bringing the fun, the games, the music.
And if you missed this art scene, don't worry. There are more of these events this month, including an August event with 20 performance acts and artists on August 26th.
So it won't be one thing happening in one place, but it'll be these little interventions throughout the station.
At this metro station, a train or bus ride could well turn into a spin on a hula hoop or a journey of exploration into tribal tattoos and more. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
Mayor Garcetti's Office of Economic Development is working hard to support local entrepreneurs by connecting them to city resources so they can thrive. One such company is Viva Bags, where 2 local designers are crafting fine leather products right here in LA.
Walk through a downtown alley and you open the door into a unique factory showroom that's been around for decades.
This is Viva Bags Los Angeles.
The 2 owners, Stacy Charlin, an LA native, and Irma Castillo, a Mexican immigrant, have succeeded in keeping their high-end leather product business going through good times and bad.
The people who were in business 10 years ago are no longer in business, and they were much bigger than we are.
Castillo bought the business in the 90s after working for the company for many years.
The first time I touched the leather, I fell in love with it. Every meeting I had with them, please, if you one day you want to sell Viva, please think about me.
Castillo finally bought a piece of the American dream and went into business with Charlin. The first 10 years, they say, were great, with accounts at Neiman Marcus, Saks, Nordstrom. Then the economy went south and new trends hit: outsourcing, cheap knockoffs, and competition from celebrity designers.
You can see we have few people working right now because they're laid off.
Viva Bags has gotten creative by branching out. Besides handbags, the 2 partners are making private label products for other designers and leather earrings, bracelets, wine carriers, tote bags. They've reached out to the mayor's Office of Economic Development, asking the city to push for more branding of made in LA products like theirs.
We see that the city is in partnership with larger businesses, but we don't want the city to forget about the smaller people.
One of the Viva Bag owners' goals is to get on this LA City-run website called laoriginal.com and look at this website. It's all companies making products right here in LA. Who knew? These ladies themselves are a true made in LA original. We get the feeling they'll be around for a long time to come.
To learn more about how the city can help your local business, visit the LA Business Portal for details. Bolly High may call you, a Bollywood dance party in downtown, and we celebrate Barbarella turning 50 at Hollywood Forever. All of that in this week's Things to Do.
Relive Hollywood's golden era as the Marina Del Rey Symphony performs Rodgers and Hammerstein's South Pacific. As part of the staged version of the Academy Award-winning classic, you'll travel back in time to once again enjoy an age of breathtaking majesty and musical masterpieces. The free performances run the evenings of August 23rd and 25th at the Burton Chase Park in the Marina. Visit chasepark.com for more info. Like to twirl the light fantastic? Then you won't want to miss the Music Center's Dance DTLA 2018 at Grand Park. A recurring downtown dance party, each event embraces a different theme. Friday, August 24th, it's Bollywood, so get ready to have a great time. The free event happens at Grand Park, 200 North Grand Avenue in downtown LA. For more information, visit grandparkla.org.
Meet the most beautiful creature of the future. Her name is Barbarella.
Take off on an intergalactic romp through the galaxy as Cinespia presents the 50th anniversary of Barbarella at the Hollywood Forever Cemetery. Experience the Jane Fonda sci-fi classic as part of the annual Johnny Ramone tribute. A cinematic masterpiece, Barbarella forever changed the way mankind views outer space, revealing an interplanetary playfulness that's still charming no matter which planet you live on. Barbarella screens Sunday, August 26th at the Hollywood Forever Cemetery, 6000 Santa Monica Boulevard. For tickets and information, visit Cinespia.org. And that's a look at some things to do.
Finally, we'll close out this week's show at LAX, where a team of volunteers held a special send-off for a local teen.
For 18-year-old Carlos Garcia, it's a dream come true. His life is about to be changed thanks to the Make-A-Wish Foundation.
It's just a lot of history in Italy, and I've always seen pictures of it, and it looks very nice. So I decided why not and go to Italy.
Carlos is battling cancer. Through his doctor, his parents found out about the Make-A-Wish Foundation and how it helps kids.
We was in the hospital and the doctor told us that there's a foundation that they can make kids, wish true. So we fill out the information. I didn't thought they were gonna call me, but they did. They contacted me when we was in the hospital.
The LAX pups also came out to share their love and support with Carlos. These adorable therapy dogs are part of LAX's Pets Unstressing Passengers program and help create a calm and stress-free experience at the airport.
Today is a very special day. LAX and the pups are partnering with Make-A-Wish Foundation to grant some kids' wishes. We have a child today that's flying out to Italy. We found out that he loves dogs, and so we thought, what a great partnership to meet and welcome them.
Make-A-Wish makes dreams come true for children with critical illnesses.
And there's a common misconception that Make-A-Wish only serves children who are terminally ill, but that's not the case. Most of our kids do go on to live healthy lives.
A thank you to Make-A-Wish for everything that they've done for the whole trip. It makes what I've gone through way easier, and hopefully the kids who are going through anything big, they could have something to look forward from Make-A-Wish.
Some heartfelt words of gratitude from Carlos, who's about to experience a trip of a lifetime. Arrivederci.
Make-A-Wish says they currently have 500 kids in Los Angeles on their waitlist. To get involved, visit wish.org/SoCal. That's going to do it for this edition. I'm Umayma Rashid, and from all of us here at LA This Week, thanks for joining us. A reminder that you can catch us online at lacitywiew.org. You can also check out our newest social media feature, LA This Minute. We'll see you back here next week for more of LA This Week.
Need a recycling center? Call 311, the toll-free number for non-emergency services. 311, your one call to City Hall.
So they will have to take two, 'cause I've got trouble, holding this man of mine.
Harris, Dawson, Weezer, Koretz, Kokorian, Martinez, O'Farrell, Price, Rodriguez, Rue, Wesson, 10 members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. First order of business.
Approval of the minutes.
Martinez move, Rodriguez seconds. Next.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Cedillo moves, Correct seconds. That brings us where?
Mr. President, today is Tuesday and it's time for the flag salute.
Okay, if we'd all rise, I'd like to ask Mr. Weezar to lead us in our flag salute today.
Thank you. Please rise. Put your hand on your heart and begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Weezar. Madam Clerk, let's go through the agenda.
Items 1 through 6 are items noticed for a public hearing. Mr. President, there are cards on all items.
Continue.
Items 7 through 11 are items for which public hearings have been held.
Okay, let's prepare to vote on these items. Please open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes. Mr. President, there's a request for number 8 to go forthwith, sir.
So ordered. Continue.
Items 12 through 14 are items for which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes are required for consideration.
Okay, so without objection, those items are now before this body. Do you have cards?
Yes, Mr. President. There are cards on 12 through 14, sir.
Okay, then let's move on to the next section.
Items 15 through 17 are items scheduled for closed session. Would you like to hold them on the desk, sir?
Okay, I'm going to defer to the city attorney.
I believe these items can be addressed in open session unless any council member wishes to go into closed.
Okay, if you would read those items, Madam Clerk.
Item number 15 is the case entitled Joe Peraza et al. Versus City of Los Angeles. There is a recommendation to expend $150,000 in settlement. Item number 16 in the case entitled Helen Tachayu et al. Versus City of Los Angeles et al. There is a recommendation to expend $1,950,000 in settlement. And item number 17 in the case entitled Maria Hernandez et al. Versus City of Los Angeles et al. There is a recommendation to expend $1,450,000 in settlement.
Okay, let's prepare to vote on these items. Mr. Price has arrived. Mr. Buscaino?
Take these votes separately.
Okay,
Thank you.
Let's vote on item 15. Please open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Item 16, open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes, 1 no.
Item 17, open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes, 1 no.
Thank you. That brings us where?
Mr. President, that takes council back to public comment or presentation, sir.
Mr. Walsh, if you'd please come forward. Items 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 13, and 14, and then your general public comment. And you'll be followed by Ms. McAllister. Ms. McAllister, good to see you.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org. We go through the agenda. It's another boring agenda except for the settlements. And I'll go right into the settlements with my minute of general public comment. $1,950,000 because the LAPD beat the shit out of this woman. You know, every time the LAPD beats the shit out of a woman, it costs us $2 million. But is the new captain give a damn about it? No. Do you give a damn about it? No. Just throw $2 million at Helene Tobayou, and everything will be fine. I'm telling you right now that the tunnel, that they want to build a homeless shelter for $60 million, $100 million across the street here. That's what we need, a homeless shelter, so they can be in here fighting us. We're trying to take a leak and they're shaving. I'm telling you right now, HollywoodHighlands.org.
Thank you. Let's vote on items 1 through 5 and item 14. Are you ready? Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Ms. McAllister, please come forward. Give her 2 minutes. She has items 12, 13, and then her general public comment.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Item 12. Here, Mr. Huzar, he wants $45,000 to put some lights on some trees, but he hasn't used the millions of dollars to build the HHH housing on Skid Row. That's the man that's responsible for Skid Row, where 20,000 black people are laying on the street. No illegal aliens, no Mexicans down there. We want you to build that housing. We don't need any street lights on Skid Row, okay? We want you to take that money and build this housing. I'm getting tired of seeing him on these agenda items getting $45,000, $100,000. We don't know where his money is. That's the same guy that wanted to give a clerk typist $100,000 a year in salaries.
Stay on topic, Ms.
Number
McFarland.
13. Here you want various public maintenance efforts and services throughout Council 8. That's Harris Dawson, his friend. It's very vague. What do you mean various maintenance efforts? You want $100,000. I went and looked at the description of this item. There's no breakdown of where this money is going. I think we need to hold the controller's office accountable. I'm seeing so much going on here, and the controller, it has to go through their office first. And they're just letting money slide through. I don't see any accountability. I'm going to start requesting records. I want to see receipts. Receipts, because the suits you guys are wearing are getting more and more expensive. You're not making that kind of money. The city attorney makes $185,000. You don't make $185,000. This guy right here has been with the city 3 years.
Let's get on the topic.
Years. Okay, let's go. Give me my public comment now.
You got
please.
it. Give her 1 minute.
I have some handouts for the council I'm going to give
Sergeants,
to you.
could you please?
I went and did the investigation. What I did, I requested, since the city attorney's office claimed they have 500 attorneys, I went and requested a list of all of them. And then I went to the Bar Association. Took me a long time. And I took those names and matched them up. And I found, wait a minute, wait, bring that back. You got some of my stuff.
No, keep talking. I'll get it back for you.
And I found, give me that back. You took my, excuse me. I found $6 million with lawyers don't work for the city. I've also matched up the dates. Thank you. The dates. Some of these lawyers are not lawyers. I'm going to the Bar Association. They're not lawyers. They're working for the city. I've got one. Some of them been practicing law 8 years and got on the bar just 2 years within that 8 years. So I found a lot of discrepancy, and I'm going to give you this handout, and we're going to take it to the Bar Association.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. McAllister. Okay, that concludes multi-public comment. Let's vote on, and see you the next time, Ms. McAllister. Let's vote on items 12 and 13. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
We're going to go to item 6. Do we have a Michael Shank or Shank? Michael? Do we have a Michael? Going once, going twice? No Michael. All right. Let's prepare to vote on that item. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Doug, come on down. Mr. Haynes, I'm sorry. General public comment, Mr. Haynes.
I gave to the city clerk an item for distribution, which I believe is being passed out. My name is Doug Haynes. I have an appeal pending for the city council. I addressed this matter in Plum last week. The appeal regards the demolition of a 1919 meticulously restored Craftsman home that was demolished without permits, notification, or any clearances from planning. Yet a week and a half ago, the developer began construction of his project. What I found out is that permits have been allowed to be issued by the planning department because they said that under CEQA appeals, clearances are allowed because it would be unfair to the developer without an appeal hearing being set. The problem is there's no benefit to us as a community. There's no way for us to know when our appeal will be heard. There's no due process for us as an issue. This is an important matter for our community, and we hope that our hearing will be scheduled soon or the permits will be stopped. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug. All right. So that will close our general public comment. So we've closed multi and general. So Mr. Koretz, presentation.
Well, good morning, colleagues. We're gathered here today to commemorate the life and work of Leonard Bernstein, the great American composer and conductor who dedicated his life to making classical music a vibrant part of American culture. He was a revered conductor and pianist, a composer of ageless music, a compassionate teacher of inspiring insight, and a fervent battler for human rights and dignity. He was also a beloved contributor to the artistic soul of Los Angeles, where he had a lifelong history of performing, teaching, and composing. But don't take my word for it. We have a short video to show you.
I think there was a part of my father that believed that if he just wrote a good enough melody, that maybe he could heal the world with his notes.
Leonard Bernstein is perhaps the single most important musical figure in all of American classical music.
There were two things that he could not live without. One was people, and the other was art.
Well, the creative arts are the beating heart of our civilization.
When he was 8 or 9 years old, he just touched one key and knew immediately he could make music on the piano.
He really believed and was passionate about what he did, and he was willing to bring it, his love and his creativity, to everyone.
He was this incredible educator. The young people's concerts on TV, Norton lectures at Harvard, his books, all these different things that he did to share his knowledge with the world.
He was also a magnificent conductor, terrific pianist, and a great humanitarian.
Traditionally, conductors were very staid and very proper in their presentation. He let it all hang out.
So today here in council chambers, I'm pleased to be joined by Samuel Paul from the Leonard Bernstein office, Stacy Takaoka, Director Special Projects, Rita George, COO, and Scott Goldman, Artistic Director, all from the Grammy Museum, and Jocelyn Teddle, Vice President of Advancement, and Mia Carino, Vice President, Communications and Marketing from the Skirball Center. The Leonard Bernstein Centennial is being celebrated on 6 continents, with over 3,000 performances of his works being performed in places as remote as Jakarta, with a concert on his actual 100th birthday next Saturday, August 25th. Closer to home, we've been celebrating since last fall. There have been dozens of performances by many of our great local institutions, including the Los Angeles Philharmonic at Disney Hall, at Disney Hall and the Hollywood Bowl, LA Opera, and the Skirball Cultural Center, which is presenting Leonard Bernstein at 100, a magnificent celebration of his life and work that is running until September 2nd. And by the way, you each have a ticket for 2 to attend that. Here to tell you more about that is Scott Goldman, the Artistic Director of the Grammy Museum.
Thank you, Councilmember Koretz, for making this proclamation today, and to all of the City Council members for your support of this remarkable milestone. As the Artistic Director of the Grammy Museum, you know, I have the privilege, really, of overseeing and developing many of the museum's curatorial efforts. At the museum, we take pride in celebrating all forms of music through our exhibitions, our public and education programs. And over the years, we have actually curated centennial celebrations of iconic music figures, including Woody Guthrie, Ella Fitzgerald, and John Lee Hooker, among many others. It only made sense for us to work with the Leonard Bernstein estate and his 3 children to curate the official exhibition of the Leonard Bernstein Centennial Celebrations, Leonard Bernstein at 100. This effort was spearheaded by Bob Santelli. You saw him in the video, the museum's founding executive director, who, along with our remarkable team, created, built, and are currently touring this exhibition nationally through more than 150 objects, including photographs, papers, scores, correspondence, costumes, furniture, films, and interactive displays. The retrospective explores half a century of activity by the renowned American composer, conductor, and humanitarian who dedicated his life to making classical music a vibrant part of American life. Leonard Bernstein at 100 is currently on view here in Los Angeles at the Skirball Cultural Center. As one of the leading Jewish cultural institutions in the country, the Skirball is truly a fitting partner for this LA engagement. And while the Grammy Museum is about music, the Skirball's mission to celebrate core Jewish values and help build a better world is perfectly embodied in Leonard Bernstein, an engaged citizen of Jewish ancestry who lent his voice to many social causes. Leonard Bernstein at 100 is on view at the Skirball until September 2nd and will then tour the country through 2020. We hope that all of you will come visit this exhibition before it leaves Los Angeles and celebrate this important centennial milestone with us. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Herman, come on. No, Mr. Herman, just don't disrupt. You know, Mr. Koretz, before you present the resolution, if I could just say, I guess in everybody's life, things happen that affect you one way or the other for the rest of your life. And the music which was played on the video from West Side Story, which I was first exposed to at 11 years old, has followed me for decades. I hum those melodies today driving to and from work, or sing those songs. It was probably the one collection of music that has moved me, believe it or not, the most. So this is really kind of exciting, I know for me personally, and I'm sure for other members that are watching this on television and the members of this council. But I will probably be singing There's a Place for Us for the next 3 days because of what you've done. So anyway, let's give him one more round of applause. His music was life-changing.
And now it's my honor to declare, on behalf of the mayor and city council, Leonard Bernstein Day in the city of Los Angeles.
Thank you.
Mr. Weezar, are you next up? Okay, sergeants. Mr. Herman, sergeants, have a chat. Mr. Herman, it's the last time I'm going to call your name today. If I call it again, you'll be removed.
Thank you very much. And colleagues, today we recognize the 78th anniversary of the Nisei Week Japanese Festival. The annual festival takes place once a year in Little Tokyo and just finished this Sunday. It is undoubtedly one of Los Angeles' most historic and cherished traditions, packed with culture and history. It's simply an outstanding, one-of-a-kind opportunity to experience Little Tokyo and the Japanese culture. My wife, Rochelle, along with our three of our four kids, had a wonderful time participating in this year's grand parade. First, I would like to welcome the Nisei Week Court to Council Chambers. Welcome, ladies, and congratulations to all of you. There you are. Next, I want to thank Board Member Ellen Ota and the rest of the Nisei Week Foundation for all the hard work and time they invest to make the festival a treasure for all Angelenos. Their nonprofit aims to showcase the traditions and culture of the Japanese community through arts and cultural education. And every year, the Nisei Week Festival achieves those aims on a wide scale to the enjoyment of the entire city and visitors from all over Southern California and beyond. All members of the foundation are volunteers who are committed to their heritage and enriching the lives of those around them. It's amazing that this festival started in Little Tokyo way back in 1934 and continues to this day, making it one of the longest-running ethnic festivals in the entire country. And certainly Los Angeles has hosted one of the largest Little Tokyos in all of the country, and because of the hard work and traditions and events like this one, it continues to thrive, and we continue to showcase our diversity here in Los Angeles. Los Angeles certainly wouldn't be what it is without Little Tokyo and the Japanese American community who have contributed to the well-being of the city. Now I would like to introduce this year's Nisei Week president, Mr. Corey Hayashi, to say a few words. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you all for having us. And as Councilman Huizar just said, we just wrapped up our 78th year, which actually was brought up is about a third of our country's history. So we really love to be the fact that we're able to not only share our native Japanese culture, but also celebrate a Japanese culture that is really developing. So one of the great moments was at the end of our ceremony, we had a closing dance in the street, and the last dance we did, it was actually a combination of that came from a collaborative event between Latino, African American, and Japanese cultural traditions. So it's been our goal to celebrate our culture and our community with not just the Japanese Americans, but also with everyone in this diverse city. So we couldn't do this without the support of the City Council, and we thank you for everything you do for us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And finally, it's my pleasure to introduce the 2018 Nisei Week Queen, Ms. Alice Marina Amano. I want to congratulate her for being selected as the Queen, and she'll come up and introduce the court. Welcome. One court.
Your Majesty.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Alice Marina Amano, and I'm honored to be the 2018 Nisei Week Queen. And I just, on behalf of the Nisei Week Foundation and Court, I'd just like to say thank you to all the council members for the amazing hospitality, and special thank you to Councilman Huizar for representing Little Tokyo and for your continued support for Nisei Week. Unfortunately, the entire court could not be here today. However, I'd like to take the time to introduce the court to you. We have our first princess, Kelly Midori Tsunawaki Mock. We have Miss Tomodachi Julie Ann Drindak. Nisei Week Princess Tori Ai Kamada. Nisei Week Princess Marika Katie Snyder. And we have here Nisei Week Princess Lauren Ray Miyamoto.
Let's give Lauren a round.
Thank you so much for having us here today.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you. On behalf of the mayor, the city council, we would love to present this Nisei Week 2018 resolution to the foundation for your continued commitment and resolve to continue Little Tokyo thriving and the Japanese culture here in the city of Los Angeles. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Okay, Madam Clerk, I think we can, then we have some 12-vote items. Was it 1 through 6?
Yes, Mr. President, 1 through 6, sir.
So why don't we vote on reconsideration? Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Now let's actually vote on the items. 1 through 6, let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Okay, I also would like to reconsider items 15 and items 16 and 17. So if we could have this first vote on reconsideration, items 16 and 17. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes, 2 noes.
Oh, that's reconsideration. Okay, now we'll actually vote on the items. Mr. Herman, I have told you that the next time I called your name, Sergeants, let's show Mr. Herman the way out. Mr. Herman, public comment has already been satisfied. You are just disrupting this meeting. So, Mr. City Attorney, he's continuing to disrupt the meeting.
In fact, he came in disrupting the meeting,
Yes,
making
he did.
noise.
Yes, he did. So what we're doing now is we're actually voting on the item. He's continuing.
Yeah, he's
Mr.
finally
Englander, we're actually voting on items 16 and 17. So on those items, in fact, we'll do it separately. Let's vote on item 16. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes, 2 noes.
Now let's vote on item 17. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes, 2 noes.
Okay. That brings us where?
That brings council, there are motions for posting and referral.
Okay, they are posted, they are referred. Announcements, members, announcements. In fact, we can then, if we all rise. In fact, members, in the sports page today, if you want to have a good little cry, a happy cry, there's a story about a young man, and he's on the USC football team. He's a big lineman, and how he adopted his stepfather's name and how he met. Anyway, it's a love story, and it's a great story. So if you want to have a happy tear, read the story about, I believe his last name is Clayton, or he changed it to Clayton. But That's good reading. It's a way to start off one's day. I'm looking to my left. Do we have adjourning motions? Mr. Cedillo.
Yes, Mr. President, I've been holding this because we've had a lot of prominent people passing. I didn't want to miss this opportunity, but I'm here today to ask that we close in the memory of Consuelo Chaidez. You know, when we run for office, we go out and walk on people's neighborhoods and knock on their doors. Sometimes we get invited into their homes, and it's one of the ways that we begin to get familiar with a community and with a neighborhood. And we always invariably run into that community leader who has access to everyone. Consuelo was one of those persons. She had 13 kids. She walked me into her house and she showed me the pictures. She called her kids by numbers. Her daughter, who was my Woman of the Year a few years ago, Vera, and her sister showed up last week, and I said, "What number were you?" She says, "I was number 3." And so with those 13 kids in Lincoln Heights, they began to be one of those families that everybody knew. She was an incredible cook. I'm going off script here because I'm going to tell you what I learned from her. She was smart. She was, public servant. She worked in hospitals, but her biggest legacy is her family, an incredible family. She was one of the founders of the Ballet Folklorico and the events that they had with the PTA. She was very, very involved. Her daughter, who was my Woman of the Year, Vera, is an incredible leader. And all the other siblings were the same. I really loved this woman when I met her and got to chat with her about food and family. And they lived in this kind of craftsman-style home in Lincoln Heights. Most of the kids were gone. But we talked a lot about food. And, as you know, my wife passed, and my mother, the incredible cook of Boyle Heights, passed. And so I'm missing certain foods. And so we talked about those, the capirotada that we make, the bread pudding that we have during Easter holiday. And I told her how much I missed that. And I don't know if you remember, but when Vera came, she brought me the capirotada, which was made very similar to the level of my mom's. And it was just who she was, a leader, open, bringing people into her home, fed everybody. I mean, this sounded like my mom. Fed everybody. Skipped the part that she yelled at everybody, which my mom would be happy to do. But Consuelo was that person, and she passed recently. We were able to send her flowers and the resolution and stuff, but she's survived by her sisters, Socorro Martinez, her brothers Ernie Corral, Ray Corral, her children Vera, Connie, Lupe, Mary Lou, Norma, Hector, Sylvia, Gracie, Blanca, Arlene, Natalie. I don't want to miss anybody, the numbers. And then there are 12 great-grandchildren and 22 grandchildren. Wow. What a legacy. And so I just wanted to hold this one off until we had the opportunity for her to get the full attention she deserved, because her legacy, her commitment to Lincoln Heights is well established, and she was a great community leader, and I was flattered to share in her food and her support. So God bless her. And I know she's up there cooking for everybody else.
Well said, Mr. Cedillo. I'm now looking to my right side. I don't see any. Mr. Krikorian.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Members, we all have people in our district who don't necessarily get recognition for their leadership role as often as they should, but each and every day they go out and they work for the improvement of their community and make a lasting difference that sometimes really is transformative of a community. And one of those people in my district was Lee Adrian, who passed away in June, and I'd like to ask that we adjourn this meeting in his memory. Lee was born in North Dakota in 1945 and grew up in a cattle farm. In 1966, he enlisted in the Air Force and served in Okinawa, where he worked with computers and served our country honorably for 7 years in the Air Force. In the course of his service, he found his way to Los Angeles, and like so many others who come to California while serving our country. He decided to stay, didn't want to go back to North Dakota. And he continued working here in data processing for many years before he retired in 2012. He was extremely active as a volunteer in the community in the East Valley. He was a founding member and captain of the Strathern Neighborhood Watch and a member of the Foothill Community Police Advisory Board. He and his wife worked together tirelessly to beautify our community. I first met him in connection with a pocket park that they really made happen for their neighborhood. But his volunteerism didn't just stop in the East Valley. We have so many of our constituents who ask us to do something about homelessness, as they should. Well, Lee's response was not to just ask for somebody else to do something. His response was to pick up a hammer. And he went to work on a number of Habitat for Humanity builds where he was actually building with his own hands homes for the homeless and other disadvantaged people. And he even went so far as to travel to Alaska to build homes in Alaska with Habitat for Humanity. When my office coordinated one of the largest mural paintings in the East Valley at the Whitsett Avenue slope, when we created the Vintage North Hollywood mural, it was Lee who really made it possible by creating an irrigation system and installing drought-resistant gardening on both sides. It couldn't have happened without Lee's work. And that was reflective of his deep love and respect and appreciation for nature. He was an active fisherman, actively involved in the Sierra Club for many years. And Mr. President, Lee climbed Mount Whitney, the tallest point in the lower 48, 3 times, all after the age of 60. So there's hope for all of us, Mr. President, still. So in 2014, when I started our Veteran of the Year ceremony here, and I was thinking about who should be the very first Veteran of the Year that we would honor in CD2, Lee Adrian was the obvious choice because of his service to our country and his immense service to our community, his care and concern for people in need, and the indelible impact that he left on the East Valley and all of Los Angeles. I'm so proud to have known him. I'll miss him, and I'm so glad that we could be joined today by his daughter Kelly and his granddaughter Amber. He's also survived by his wife Maggie, his other children Christopher and Jennifer, in total 7 grandchildren and 3 great-grandchildren. Lee Adrian made a significant impact that will last in our community for many generations to come. May he rest in peace.
Well said, Mr. Krikorian, well said. And our thoughts go with the family and friends. Are there any other adjourning motions? I don't see any. Members, this meeting is adjourned.
I am not just an environmentalist at work, but I am an environmentalist at heart. 70% of the world's surface is covered by water. In order to see the world, you really have to be in the water. I was a scuba dive instructor and realized that I had a passion for the ocean and needed to work as a marine biologist. So when the position in water quality came up, I knew that was my job. As an environmental specialist at the Port of Los Angeles, I wear many hats. I primarily oversee stormwater quality. I am the sustainability coordinator for the Port of Los Angeles, and I oversee the management of a 15-acre endangered California least-tern nesting site. We at the Harbor Department ensure that the birds are as successful as they can be. My job is to go around and visit all of our tenants, from the large industrial operators to the